Hi everyone, Linda from Let's Talk Prepping, and I wanted to talk to you today about what's real and what's not. Now that could cover all kinds of subjects, what's going on in the world and everything, but I just wanted to concentrate on one thing that we as preppers can take into our own hands. So I want to talk about food, what's real in food and what's not. And because as preppers, we can make preparations to grow our own food and to form co-ops with real food. So let's just look and see what's real and what's not and what's going on in the world of food. We're over here at newstarget.com, and lab-made chicken meat grown from cancer cells receives FDA approval. Are you ready to eat tumor nuggets? And this is on April 11, 2023. So what they're doing now is they're growing meat from cancer cells. And this is from the Daily Clout. And it's dailyclout.io. Lab-grown meat is made of cancer cells. Would you like it rare or medium? And it says the USDA doesn't allow animal tumors to enter the food chain, but lab-grown meat is made of tumor cells. And according to Bill Gates in the World Economic Forum, global warming threatens to destroy humanity, and methane coming from the belches and farts of cows is a greenhouse gas. So cows are the problem, and we know that. So they want to switch to lab-grown meat, and you will be eating replacement meats within 20 years. Here's why. Bill Gates and Richard Branson are betting lab-grown meat might be the food of the future. And it's made from these immortalized cancer cells. And I think basically what it is that these cancer cells don't die. So they can use that to make the meat because they live forever. But normal cells, of course, don't. And of course, they claim if you eat it, you won't get cancer from it. But, you know, there haven't been any tests or anything. They have no idea. It says, the main problem of growing an endless lab meat supply is that normal tissue cells cannot endlessly replicate. There's a limit to how many times they will divide. So that's why they're using the cancer cells. Lab meat and cell line suppliers grow meat from tumor cells that are immortalized. In other words, their cells can endlessly replicate. That's why cancer never stops growing after all. So you see, it's all about money, basically. They would have to keep replacing normal cells, but with these, they don't have to. The lab meat companies plan to sell these kinds of solid tumor cells to us to eat, but the USDA inspectors screen out cancer and tumors in animal carcasses. But in lab-grown meat, they won't screen it out. So we have that. And then, are you eating pork injected with mRNA livestock vaccine? And this is from the children'shealthdefense.org. Since 2018, industrial pork producers have been using customizable mRNA-based vaccines on their herds. And the thing is, it has just come to light. Most people didn't know this. So since 2018, you could have been eating meat that had the mRNA vaccine. And the problem with that is they really don't know what effect it has on people. And then, of course, I did a whole video on this new appeal, which they're putting on produce, and they can use even coated on organic produce. So I did a whole video on that. I think it was called something like, Would You Eat This? So you might want to look at that. That's another thing. They're just sneaking in all these things we just don't know about. That's the problem. That's why as a prepper, you're going to have to grow your own food. You're going to have to form communities with farmers. You might have to go 25, 50 miles away to find a meat producer that's not going to use the mRNA vaccine. It's going to be up to you to decide what you want to eat and where you're going to buy it. And see, in Natural News, Big Ag panicking as legislatures push mandatory labeling for gene-altered meat. So the ones that are using the mRNA gene-altered meat, they want to have legislation for this in Missouri. But of course, people are fighting it. The ones who are making this and the Cattle Association are fighting it because they want to use this in their cattle. And then from naturalnews.com again, FoodVax study confirms development of oral mRNA vaccine that's produced in cow's milk. So it shows up in the cow's milk. So you're drinking a glass of milk, and if it's not labeled, you have no way of knowing. And then over here at getbetterwellness.com, cricket powder showing up in your food. Learn how to read ingredient labels, and this is what crickets are. Acheta domesticus. I probably didn't pronounce that right. If that's on the label, it's cricket. It's cricket. Sometimes they just call it Acheta protein, and they say it's a great alternative, but here's an alert. If you have a shellfish allergy, it's likely to cross-react with cricket protein, causing severe reactions. So if you have an extreme allergy to shellfish and unknowingly eat cricket, this could cause an adverse reaction up to and including death. So that's a problem. And of course, they're not telling us that this cricket powder is in everything. And it's not so much these things that they give you pictures of here, because this one says cricket powder, this one says cricket powder. It's when you buy pizza crust. You don't know that the flour they used has cricket powder in it. This is from legalinsurrection.com. Italy bans EU-approved use of insect flour and pasta on pizzas. So the EU approved that they could use this in all kinds of things. Pizza, pasta, nuts and oilseeds, snacks, sauces. You know, I think if I got nuts, I wouldn't even think that there'd be cricket powder in it. Meat preparation, soups, multigrain breads and rolls, crackers, breadsticks, cereal bars, dry premixes for baked products, biscuits, processed potato products, legume and vegetable-based dishes, whey powder, maize flour-based snacks, beer-like beverages, and chocolate. So all of these things are approved in the EU. You know, eventually they're going to be used in the US too if they go over big in the EU. But Italy has said, no, we're not going to use it in pasta and pizza. Probably okay to use it in all of these other things. I was at Whole Foods the other day, and I was looking to see if I could see anything made with cricket flour, and I couldn't. But if you look at this Beyond Breakfast sausage that was in the frozen case, if you just look fast, you probably wouldn't notice it was plant-based, because you just look at that and you'd say, ooh, I'd like that. And it looks good and you just pick it up. Or these fish burgers and crab cakes. Again, these are plant-based. They are clearly labeled, so you should be able to see. But sometimes we just grab things. But I wanted to show you this cornbread. Doesn't that look good? So look, this cornbread looks pretty good. But if you look at the ingredients on the back, it says contains a bioengineered food ingredient. What is that? GMO ingredient or what? What is a bioengineered food ingredient? So when you look at that, you've got to start reading labels from now on. And these cinnamon rolls look pretty good. But again, if you look at the ingredients, contain a bioengineered food ingredient. So as a prepper, if you want to protect yourself and your family and know exactly what you're eating. It's going to be hard. I know maybe if you have a local pizza place and it's just a small neighborhood place, maybe you could ask them, do you use cricket flour in your pizza? Places like that. But in general, you're not going to know if you're eating out. If you're buying things at most grocery stores, they probably aren't going to be labeled. So it's going to be up to you to decide. Now you could probably buy food and store it, and it probably would be okay. The other thing you want to do, of course, is get seeds and grow your own garden and know what you're eating by growing your own food, maybe raising your own chickens, making friends with some farmers who have cattle, pigs, whatever, chickens, and make sure that they don't use the vaccine and that they have organic feed. And you're going to pay a little bit more for that, but at least you'll know what you're eating. But do it now while you can, while there's still time. Find that community-sponsored agriculture, and then you can buy a share. And make sure you talk to the farmer and say, are you using GMO products? Are you using pesticides? Find out how they're growing the food. And as a prepper, it's up to you to take care of yourself and your family. Know what you're eating. And if you have any comments, please leave them down below. Thanks for watching.